Hello, my name is Cristian Vargas, and this is my final project. So in lines 1 through 5 are just inclusion statements for the libraries that I used in my program. More importantly, though, on line 5 is an inclusion of the vector library. And this I find to be a really important aspect of my project because the ability for me to use the vector library gives me the ability to record numerous objects of apparel that the user wants to order without knowing actually from the very beginning how many objects the user wants to order innately. So since arrays are limited to a predetermined value that you have to give to the array, by using a vector, I was able to have what is the equivalent of an array that could go as long or as short as the user would like it to be. So first, I created a structure for the apparel item. The apparel item just gives basic information for each piece of apparel that is used for whether the user needs it for information or whether it's data that the user gives me in order to manipulate that data into an order for them. So it has really basic things such as the name of the apparel, the description of the apparel, but then it also has these two arrays. It has a color apparel and a size array. So a color array and a size array. The color array has three objects within it, and that represents just the three colors that you can purchase all the apparel in. And the size array has four objects in it, representing the four sizes that you can order all the apparel in. But under that is a selected color and a selected size string. Now, these are used as a way to record the selection from the user, the selection of what color they'd want the piece of apparel in or the size of their apparel in. And then also a double for price and quantity. So the price just represents the basic price for each item, and the integer for quantity just represents how many the user would like to purchase at that one time. Now, as part of my required enhancement, I decided to include an option for the user to order an additional item, which has the opportunity of a discount in order to get that discount. And this is represented through this bool value down here, this Boolean, that's discount. And for each object, it would either be true or false, determining whether there is a discount or not a discount for that item. So in my case, I only gave one object a discount and the rest of them no discount. So when I initialize each of the values of the items in my program, only for that specific value or that specific item that I mentioned will it actually have a true value for that discount, which then leads the user to experience what is the amount of that discount, right? Represented by double discount amount. Double discount amount is just a percentage in which the user will get deduced from the price of that additional item. So in my case, it's a 10% discount. And so the discount amount when initialized will be 0.1, representing its 10% of the price of that item. So these are just the prototypes that I used for the functions. They just represent functions, which I'll go over later. The display menu function, which exclusively represents just the information that is stored for each item. An item creation function, which is used to initialize all the values for each of the items that the store offers. A show products function, which just represents all the items. Order products, which puts the user through an ordering process, and complete order, which puts the user through a totaling process for their purchase. And then also is an valid function, which is used to just determine that all user input is indeed a valid decision. So it starts with the main variable or the main function. So it starts by making 5 items of the apparel object. So through an array. And then that is put through the item creation function. So if we go down to the item creation, it's represented here with getting each instance of the 5 items and filling them with necessary information. So it gives the name of each item, the descriptions in short blurbs, and then it also supplies with each of the colors and sizes and with each of their prices. So for the basic quantity, it just initializes them all as 0 because these are just the objects in which these are the objects which the store supplies. So that quantity of is not really used. That is mainly used for when we create that vector of user orders. Also is this for loop for the discount for each item. And so in this case, if the index of the vector or the item array is 2, then it gives an opportunity for the discount, which is represented by this true discount Boolean, and also this 0.1 discount double, representing the percentage of discount. The rest of them all get false and no discount opportunity. So if we go back to the main function, we see in a creation of the subtotal equaling $0.00. And this is just the total, that is determined prior to any purchasing, just setting a baseline of no amount due. And then in this vector right here of the apparel object is the user's order. So this vector runs quite in parallel to the array of apparel item or objects, because this user order now represents selections which the user makes of the item apparel arrays. And so now each of their decisions will be just stored as apparel objects in this vector. And then, as I stated earlier, the upside of this vector that I used is that, I don't have to actually know how many the user wants to order from the very beginning. The user can go through and order as many times as they want and continuously be adding to their order. This also right here is just a basic input for the user input. I just set it to 0 because the selections for the menu are going to be number based. The user puts in a proper number, and I have this while loop that maintains this the information inside the functions within the main function. And this while loop just makes sure that unless the user gives the selection for ending the program, it keeps giving them the option to make a decision at the main menu. And so here I use a switch statement for each case in which the user selects, and this is shown right here in the program. So it says, welcome to arithmetic accoutrements, home to the most ironic mathematical clothing. What would you like to do? And so there's there's options 1 through 4. So in this case, if the user input is equal to 0, which it is innately from the beginning of creating the program, it puts the user into case 0, which is just this representation of the main menu. So this is done through the display of the main menu function, setting just a precision for the total down here, which is recurring and will keep coming up as the user goes through the program. And then this just makes sure that the input is valid. So now upon deciding to show products, the user is brought to this page. And this page represents each item with name, description, sizes, and prices. So now the user can get information from that. And as it's shown here, showing products, it represents it through the show products function, sets the user input back to 0 to bring them back to the main menu case, but it also does a system pause. And I did this so that the user doesn't necessarily have to give a yes or no or a number response. They can press any button and go back to the main menu. So now that they're back here, their next decision would be to order a product. So they press 2, and they can choose an product to purchase. So in this case, I'll buy Maxwell's Gospel t-shirt. So I select 3, and I would like it in white. So I select 3. What size would you like it in? Select a number between 1 and 4. You know what? Just to test its user input, I'm just going to say 9. And it says, I'm sorry, but you entered an invalid response. Please try again. So now I'll choose a correct response, and I'll just say 2. How many would I like to buy? And I'll buy 5 of them. So now it tells me my order so far, and it says Maxwell's Gospel t-shirt. There's 5 of them, which is coming to a subtotal of just the value of each shirt multiplied by 5 to $124.95. Would you like to order another item? Sure. So yes, and it brings me back to this. I'll purchase the don't be a third derivative with respect to time of displacement hoodie. So I'll select 1. What color would you like it in? I'll say black, and I'll get this one large, and I'll buy 1. So now I have my order again, showing me I have my Maxwell's Gospel t-shirts, and I also have my don't be a third derivative of displacement with respect to time hoodie. Would I like to order another item? No, I'm good. So it brings me back to the main menu, and you know what? Let's just let's call it for my order right now. So if you look at the main menu, it actually shows the total right there at $154.94. And now under or when I select 3 for the complete order, it'll bring me to case 3, which now shows the complete order function. Now it gathers that subtotal item array from earlier, and the user order, which is the vector for the user's decisions, the user's orders. And now it puts it through this, and it shows my order. So I have my Maxwell's Gospel t-shirts and 5 of them. I also have my my hoodie, and shows only one of them, and it shows my subtotal, but it says, we are currently having a sale on the Maxwell's Gospel t-shirt. Would you like to order an additional one for 10% off? Yes or no? And I'll say, sure. Yeah, I would like to buy another one. So now it increases the amount to 6 of my Maxwell Gospel t-shirts, and it shows a total of $149.94, but also a reduction of 10%. And it says, would you like your order to be delivered to your home? Yes. And then it says, congratulations, your shipping is free today. And that is represented in the complete order function down here, where it says if the subtotal is less than $50 and the subtotal is also not 0, that it will be shipping costs of $8.75. But if it is more than 50, then shipping is free. And it says, thank you for your business. Have a wonderful day. So now to look at specifically the functions that I used and my definitions for them. So first is the item creation one. Yeah, just represents each of the values for the array, and then the display menu just prints this string, these series of strings, into the main console output, just for the user to see every time they go back to the main menu. The show products function, it has the item creation function within it in order to just initialize all those items. And then it also just prints each of the items information, which is done through this for loop. So knowing that there are 5 objects starting from 0 up to 4, it just goes and it prints all of them. In the order products function, it initializes an integer for the user's response when requiring numbers, and also the user's response when requiring letters. So in this case, when the user puts in a Y, both uppercase or lowercase, it makes sure that it goes through again to order more items. So in this case, this just shows that it shows each item. What item would you like to purchase? It then requests user input, shown here, and then put in through this while loop, which makes sure that their input is indeed valid. And then here is super important, the user order.pushback statement right here. This is how I add the apparel items to the vector that I created at the very beginning by just pushing it back. So each item goes in at that index and just keeps going and just being added to this never needing to end kind of array. Then it asks, what color would you like? And it just presents the options for colors. Then again, requests user input, and then, make sure that the input is valid. And it does this, and it just keeps storing this information into those vector positions. When every time the user puts an order in and it pushes back into the vector, then it goes to that index specifically and puts this information for each of those items. So it does that until selected size. It recaps the order. It increases the order index to know how many times it has gone through. And then it says, would you like to order another item? It requests the yes or no response from the user, checking the user information. And if yes, brings them through the loop again. The complete order function here initializes a character for their response when asked if they would like shipping or if they would like to order another item in case of they want the opportunity of a discount on an additional item. It initializes the tax variable here at 8.75%, shown in a double as 0.08775, and it shows the tax as that being multiplied by the subtotal. Count here just puts a line and it represents our order. So here it puts a summation of our order in the subtotal. And in this case, it goes to the length of the vector done through user order.size. And it checks each of them to see if it does indeed have a discount. So this is represented through the if statement of user order at index I dot discount, just determining whether discount is true or false. If true, it says, we are currently having a sale on that specific item, user order index I dot name, and it's for 10%. Would you like it? And again, here we go, validates user input. And if it is, a yes, then it puts them through the process of adding that item. And then it tells the user that an additional item has been added to the order. And then it goes through and displays them. And in this case, if there's a case at that index where the user order does have a discount, then it displays the statement of it being added to, but with also a reduction of 10%. And then if the user says, no, I don't want the discount, it'll just say, okay, the item was not added to your order. Here it shows the subtotal is equal to the subtotal plus the tax, which was determined from their order, and the count statement just showing the subtotal post-tax. Would you like your order delivered to your home? Again, requests user input, and if so, it has this opportunity for the user input and says, or it makes sure that in the case that the user does want it delivered to their home, it makes sure that it's less than $50 if they have to pay for shipping, and if it's greater than that, then the shipping is free. And then it just says at the end, thank you for your business. Have a wonderful day. And then here's just my is valid function. So actually this iteration of my is valid function is kind of an ultimate is valid function, because if you look at the if statement here at the top, it actually includes cases of being a valid response for more than just a specific one throughout the program. So for example, at the beginning, it shows, if it's between 1 and 5, which is important to represent, whether they want to select an object, which is between 1 and 5 that we're selling, as in terms of apparel, whether it's a color between 1 and 3 and such like that. And then even characters, as making sure that the character is a Y or an N. And so prior, like in earlier instances of my program, I had is valid statements for each of those instances, but found it to be more efficient if I created this one united version of an is valid function to kind of cover all those bases. And then here in this if statement, if it does not fulfill any of these situations, this is where it'll tell the user, I'm sorry, but you entered an invalid response. So this is my final project. Thank you.